Good morning, everyone. I will just hold on for a minute or two to wait for more people to join in and then we can start. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining in. We can see that you're coming. And for those watching live, also, thank you for making out time with us this morning. For those joining in, this is a Business Day and Net Plus SME Digital Transformation webinar series. We bring this to you every Monday, the last week of the month, every last Thursday, most times of the month. And we just want to see how we can help your business grow and see how we can also help you move to the next level. The digital transformation theme for this month is the overhaul every business needs for profitability. And we just know how important technology is and digital is for your business, which is why we are doing this. Okay, so this topic for this month, we'll be looking at engaging with your customers online. The SME Digital Transformation webinar series is aimed at creating an avenue for SMEs looking for expert information and sharing knowledge on a range of related topics can come together. It also offers a connecting platform for participants to meet with organizations that facilitate access to market, finance, and skills. This initiative is powered and brought to you by Business Day and netplus.com. Of course, for those of you tuning in, Business Day is West Africa's leading provider of business intelligence and information on a diversified media platform, including online, mobile, and print. We publish every day. The newspaper is based in Lagos and Accra with syndication from the Financial Times, The Economist, and the Harvard Business Review. A bit about netplus.com. They are a leading technology and digital payment company with a mission to provide practical and innovative merchant services and digital payment solutions to businesses in Nigeria and emerging markets globally. What we're going to be doing today is just trying to tell you more about how you can use digital and technology to move your business forward. I'll run through quickly how the day is going to run. So, of course, introduction is taking place by me, your noble host. I'll tell you a bit about myself shortly. My name is Linda, and I will have an introduction. I will read the profile for my speakers, have a presentation briefly by Infobip, panel discussions, questions and answers, play a video from NetPlus and a video from our partners and myself, and then we'll have the closing remark. For everyone joining in, once again, I say a lovely good morning to you. Thank you for making out time and joining us today. We totally understand how busy your days can be. For you setting out an hour and 30 minutes to be with us, we truly, truly appreciate it. My name is Linda Chwe. I'm the Digital Sales Manager and SME Growth Specialist. I'm extremely passionate about SMEs and I can't hide it. I strongly believe that if the government and the economy kind of supports the SME to grow better and faster, we will move faster than where we are now. So that's my dream and my hope that we can support them. I'll be your host for today. And if you do have questions, make sure you feel free to write that down. I will go into that later. I'm extremely excited to guide you through today's webinar, which is the 5th edition of the monthly SME Digital Transformational webinar series, which is aimed at creating an avenue for SMEs looking for expert information and share knowledge on a range of related topics. I'm sure if you haven't seen the previous ones, you can go on YouTube and watch the last episode and the ones before just to have a clue of the information we're passing. We try to bring you the best speakers who are really experienced to be able to share from their knowledge with you. This series is proudly brought to you by Business Day Media, West African leading provider of business intelligence and information, and also with netplus.com. They actually provide innovative merchant services and digital payment solutions to businesses across the world. Navigating through coronavirus has given many of us, reasons to change our perspectives about many aspects of our day-to-day lives. The way we do business is no exception, especially as it relates to the changes we have to embrace in the last year or so. One of the most important bits for those changes is the essence of adopting technology to achieve some semblance of normalcy, and that is exactly what we have organized this webinar to discuss. And it's also why we have tagged this month's topic, engaging with your customers online. So for most of us, we have seen that, COVID and coronavirus has changed the world and the way we do business, and it's still changing it. So for many of us, take the vaccine, don't take the vaccine, you will get better, you won't catch it, you can't travel. It's been a lot to manage and deal with for the past 1 year, and we actually thought it was going to end, but we are still struggling with it, with the whole vaccine and co. We really pray it comes to an end. But one thing remains, that for those of us still living, we have to keep on moving and find ways of doing business. And it has opened a lot of channels for people to actually transact. Now you can be in Nigeria and receive funds from anywhere in the world, and also transact business with people across the world from anywhere. So in as much as we have faced some challenges, it has also opened some new doors. So I think we should take the new faith and look at it from the brighter side of life. So I hope you learned a thing or two from our esteemed panelists, and that with this, you can have the confidence to make the decisions that can get your business from where it is now to where you want to be. For me, I will definitely always say that I hope that this will help you move your business to the next level. It's all about growth, increase in revenue, sustainability, and profitability. So if you're running a business and you're not growing and it's not profitable, then something is wrong. You have to move into a next level, of course, expand your business across the world. With me today, I have amazing panelists, Mr. Olatayo Ladipo Ajayi, who is a country manager of Infobip Nigeria. I have Mr. Wole Farun, CEO netplus.com. I have Mr. Akinwande Akinsoleri, head of Scale Up Lab by Faith Foundation. I have Mr. Ekundayo Aini, VP Sales, EME Career Express. So, as I said earlier, if you do have questions and you want to ask my panelists, please feel free to write them in the chat room. I will try and answer as many questions as possible. We hope to keep to time. We started on a very good note, which means we should be here for about an hour, 30 minutes, except we have too many questions and it drags longer. I hope you don't mind. And now, if you want to also put down your questions, please help us with your name, your location, and the name of your business if you want us to know. It just helps us and guides us in helping you answer the question right. Without wasting much time, if we are all set, I would like to quickly read the profile of my panelists. If everyone is hearing me and you're okay, just say yes in the chat room so that I know that I have people who are listening and are hearing me clearly, just to make sure that I'm not talking to myself. Thank you. That sounds really good. Okay, so I want to quickly read through the profile and then I will invite Mr. Tayo. So Mr. Tayo, get ready. I will be reading the profile of my guest. So as I said earlier, it's a monthly SME digital transformation webinar series. Today's topic will be engaging with your customers online. And we want to just make sure that we help you see how we can help you move forward to the next level. I talked about the series earlier. The SME Digital Transformation is monthly, and it's with Business Day and NetPlus. We just try to see how we can help you navigate through the crisis and still make sure you remain in business. Okay. So I will be having amazing panelists with me today. I actually mentioned their names earlier. So we have Mr. Tayo, Akinwande Wole, and Mr. Ekundayo. I'll go to the next slide, please. So my first lovely, so it's for me today, I'm the only female with 4 gentlemen. That sounds really good. I felt like, wow, how come we don't have more women? So I'm going to definitely try to see how we can bring in more women on the panel. I'm just kidding. Okay, so Mr. Olatayo is an asset information technology executive with over 14 years experience in guiding blue chip multinationals and small scale businesses in Africa to acquire cutting edge technologies and implement new ideas on the path to the future. Olatayo's vast experience in sales, services, project, and branding has assisted him in creating interesting customer relations and partners across business verticals. Starting his early career days as a young sales executive, providing websites and portal services to SMEs from door to door through a World Bank-sponsored project to his recent task of managing large teams and businesses. Olatayo has indeed built passion for values that encourage good service, global standards, keeping the customer first, and the can-do attitude. These values have assisted him in managing large teams for several organizations in business capacity. Just before Olatayo joined, he concluded an 8-year experience with one of the largest integrators in West Africa, CWG. Give me a second. As a director, leading a team of over 275 IT professionals offering services to various industry verticals. While working for CWG, Olatayo won several All Achievement Awards from OEMs like Winkoff, Nixdorf, Dell, and others. He was also responsible for the growth of the ATM businesses at CWG. He successfully sold and deployed over 5,000 Winkoff Nixdorf brand ATM for several Nigerian banks. I'm not seeing this really clearly. Olatayo is an alumna of the prestigious Lagos Business School. He believes in strong teams, family values, equal rights for everyone. And that's great idea. Stones on structured hard work. I hope I got that right. 1 minute. Brian, please can you help me minimize my screen if that's fine? Because some of the things at the bottom I'm not showing. Okay, so I'm not seeing the bottom part, so that's what I'm asking. So Akinwande is an experienced management and business consultant with specialization in innovation, growing and scaling up businesses, market research and analytics, and human capital development. His consulting practice boasts of top brands in energy, telecoms, financial FMCG, such as NNPC, Southern West Africa, MTN Nigeria, Diamond Bank, Vitachem, House of Tara, and public sectors as well. Winner of the 2014 Young Leadership Awards and 2020 ECOWAS Youth Ambassador, Akim is an alumnus of the Project Management College UK and a member of the International Institute of Business Analysis. He is a certified management consultant by the International Council of Management Consulting Institute. He has also attended specialized programs provided by University of Pennsylvania, Watson's Business School, Young African Leadership Initiative, Yali Network, IBM Analytics University, among others. Aki is the founder of Nelux International Limited, a business advisory and management consulting firm, founder of Global Analysis Academy, and is the head of Scale Up Lab by Faith Foundation. Join me, everyone, as we welcome Mr. Akinwande. Next on my list, I have Mr. Ekundayo Aini. He's the VP Sales EMEA Career Express, an alumnus of the Harvard University Executive Program where he studied digital marketing, and a Google advertising partner. He is known as the most successful B2B sales guru in Nigeria. Ekundayo has worked with brands across the world as a digital marketing consultant to deliver revenue growth from content-focused inbound marketing campaigns. Ekundayo is the CEO of Business Plus Services, leading digital marketing transformation agency in Africa focused on helping organizations and companies in both the public and private sectors produce results by presenting them with an extensive range of business solutions to adequately generate traction, interaction, and conversions for clients who make use of digital media. Ekundayo is a facilitator at the National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria, adjunct lecturer, digital marketing and branding, Mountain Top University, also a full member of the Institute of Information and Strategy Management. He has invested in startups like Career Express, Bird Smith, DigiHub, High Caliber, Pretty Cash, and some others that cannot be mentioned. He's a graduate of the Federal University of Technology, Mina, where he studied mathematics and computer science. He's also an HP certified trainer on MEAI program for young businesses in Sub-Saharan Africa. Join me, everyone, as we welcome Mr. Ekundayo. Thank you for coming on. Okay, next on my list, I have Mr. Wale Farum. This is not Mr. Wallace. Just give me a second. Let's quickly correct that. Okay. Ryan, can you minimize my screen, please? Thank you. Okay, so I'll just quickly run through Mr. Wallace's profile so that I have the right thing here. Okay, so Mr. Wallace started his career as an IS engineer with Citigroup before joining ExxonMobil as a technology project manager. In his 15-year career, he has worked in various functional areas, including technology, project management, and business development, sales and marketing. He recently worked as a product director in 2 leading software companies based in New York, USA, where he led the development and commercialization of several web-based products over 5 years. He holds a BSc in Computer Engineering from OAU and an MBA from the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. So we have 2 alumni of Pennsylvania here today, Mr. Kimande and Mr. Wale. Nice to have you all on my panel. Okay, so I think we kind of know who our speakers are for today, and we are ready to start. So if we have the presentation from Mr. Tayo, the floor is yours so that we do not take too much time, and then we can move into the next. Are we ready? Brian?
Yes, can you hear me?
Let's see, thank you.
You can hear me?
Brilliant. We already have questions, so I'll take that later. Mr. Olatayo, are you ready so that I can go on this?
Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Everyone say yes, that you can see his screen so that he knows that he's got some very wonderful audience out there, and we can continue. Thank you everyone for listening, and I hope you have a good time with me today. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you, Business Day. Thank you, all the sponsors. Thank you, everyone. My name is Olatayo Ajayi. I'm just going to, I have just 10 minutes, so I'll try as, best as possible to make this as concise and deliver it as best as I can. So I'm the country manager, Infobip Nigeria. We're a global brand. I'll go straight to the agenda of today. Just talking about what exactly we're here to do today. So I'm going to run a short video that will show you what Infobip is all about and what business we do in Nigeria and globally. Then I'll talk about today's communications challenges as I see it, in my own opinion. And I'll also talk about some of the solutions that we might prefer to solve some of these problems under what we call a unified CX, means customer experience solutions. Then I'll also share some customer success stories with you. So can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Excellent, excellent. So give me a minute.
Customer experience. But winning their hearts and minds means being present on all their channels, all across the globe, while meeting all local regulations. It is complex, but there is a simple solution. Infobip's cloud communication platform provides one seamless connection to the world's most popular communication channels. Through our worldwide network of connections, we reach more than 7 billion people and things. By offering powerful omni-channel communication solutions for each step of the customer journey, we help optimize the customer experience in a scalable and flexible way. Be it unbeatable account security straight from sign-up. Way. Be it unbeatable account security straight from sign-up. Critical alerts. Special offers. Notifications on carts abandoned and order shipped. Or secure anonymous communication with your rideshare driver by using text messages, mobile app messaging, chat apps, RCS, voice, email, or bots. Our solutions make switching channels as easy for companies as it is for their customers. We help companies overcome the complexity of consumer communication, increase customer satisfaction, and grow their business. Our local presence with more than 60 offices on 6 continents enables us to react faster, support better, and engage more. Together with our clients, we create communication solutions of the future. Let us show you how.
Great. Great. So thank you, everyone. I hope that video was clear, and I hope everybody can still hear me. Had a bit of power issues there. So I'm going to be talking about basically why you should be where your customers are. And one of the key topics that we cannot but review is 2020. What happened in 2020? And we see that a lot of businesses were accelerated in terms of their digital transformation strategy because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And in 2020, we call it the year of the digital because most organizations that had a formidable digital strategy sailed through that period. So what exactly happened in 2020? We had a lot of organizations that did not have a formidable or clear digital strategy as regards customer engagement. So they were more, they relied on their physical channels like the branches and the stores and all those platforms. And they also relied on their call centers, we all saw how those structures could not, adequately cater for customers during the whole process. So you had a lot of customers, moving to organizations that had a better digital strategy or a more digitally transformed organization. And, this made a whole lot of a difference, in 2020. We also saw that the customer now took the front row as to when before you had more of the organization setting the pace or the channel for the customer to go and, consume services. But now the customer is now in charge. So like they say, the customer is king for the physical, yes, but also the customer is now king of the digital, and the customer, like I said, was in the front row from 2020 and a lot of things changed. So organizations suffered a lot. They had challenges with multiple vendor management around their infrastructure. The ones that had call centers couldn't get their staff to go, take up calls. They had data spread all over the place, and they could not come to a unified type of engagement with their customers because they were just structured for that. And we realized that the fluidity is what really matters for organizations today, especially SMEs, mid-tier companies, and even multinationals. So if you look at the trend as at today, and even for last year, you see that 90% of consumers are likely to do more purchases from organizations that they believe have like an excellent service delivery or customer service structure, which is something that's always embedded in the minds of the customers. And you see about 86% of these customers say that they would rather do business with an organization with a better customer experience, structure. I'm a sucker for once for good customer experience, and that counts a lot, especially in the new period we find ourselves in. So what is also interesting is that 53% of the consumers noted that they would like to do business and buy from an organization that can exchange messages with them, that can chat with them. And this is where we are in the whole, case where we said the customer is now the digital king. So if you take it back to the pandemic, you find out that those same customers were now able to engage, not just, by calling, but being able to do the same things that they were doing on the mobile app, the same things they were doing from the call center on, their WhatsApp, on via email to send instructions to get, all those, interactions going. So there are some gaps that totally exist. And when you look at these gaps between what the customer is expecting in communication and what the organization is delivering. So customers typically want the business to be able to, meet them at the point of their request in terms of quickly responding. A lot of brands have that challenge because they do not have the capability to do that kind of orchestration. Their technology, their backend, or even their structure, their organization is not programmed like that. So they defeat that desire from the customer. And you have a lot of customers also saying that they want to be able to contact their providing organizations or businesses that they want to engage with in whatever platform that they would like to engage. So be it you don't have to straitjacket the customer and put him to the branch level and say, oh, you have to go to the branch, or you have to go to my office, and that to consume this service or that service. So they want to be able to do that same service on the platforms that they're typically used to every day. So is it a WhatsApp? Is it from Facebook? Is it from Twitter? The basic things that they can engage your organization with rather. So these are some of the key things that create the gap. And the traditional strategy of the organizations no longer work as to what the customer is today. And if you notice in the last slide that I sent, you see that the picture is the customer is smack in the middle, and all the channels and all the services that are supposed to be delivered to the customer, surrounds the customer rather than the customer going to those channels. So enough of that. I'd like to talk about the solutions, and we prefer a clear solution to what we call the unified customer experience as regards strategy from Infobip. We look at it from providing a single point of contact where all your communication needs and all customer engagements and management activities can be done from one platform, securely and with speed. So if you talk about that, you're talking about what Infobip is going to put in the market. It's a platform as a service, and we provide various orchestrations in that. You have on your left side, you have different internal organizations within your organization. You have the sales organization, you have the marketing, support, operations, logistics, all sorts of organizations running, different things in between. But they also want to engage the customer, and this same customer is trying to engage services from all these guys at your back end. So you need a platform like what we provide that will help you create rules, help you create a defined customer journey to improve or provide a customer experience across the different channels that you find on your right. So be it your email, SMS, voice, chat apps, online live chats, whatever it is. So at that point, you are able to orchestrate from a central database with a central, set of rules that can coordinate all the activities within this. And some of the objectives really are to provide some type of scalable platform that whatever kind of channel that you decide to introduce, it easily fits in and integrates easily. To now turn your traditional call center to a proper contact center where cases and issues are solved at one hand. You don't need to start moving or passing the ball from one table to the next, and customers have this endless wait and things like that. This is how we prefer to solve this problems that a lot of SMEs, mid-tier companies, multinationals suffer today. And it's new, it's fresh, and it's changing the way we do business. So I'll quickly rush through some of our customer success stories. This is very interesting point in case where Ikeja Electric had challenges with multiple customers trying to engage them from different branches. Their online platform wasn't robust enough to take care of these customers. The call center was laden with a lot of customer calls and all that, and it wasn't being as effective as it should be. We set up WhatsApp for business, and at the back end we put a chatbot, which is our answers, and we call it answers. And at the back of that we put a customer care contact center solution, a CCAS solution called Conversations, to help guide the topics from the chatbot to the customer care agent. So what typically happens is issues like I want to check my balance, I want to know my meter number, I want to be able to load credit, I want to be able to view my statement. We put that on the back of the chatbot. So it made Ikeja Electric a 24/7, available organization from a usual, working hours kind of company. So, and that changed a lot. It created a lot of value, and we're still monitoring the value that is added so much. So a lot of people are now moving towards, using that type of channel rather than, engaging physically and doing all that. So there's a lot of interesting things that is happening, while we're doing this. And it's a big case study that a lot of the other distribution companies are looking at, taking up presently. So we all know Paystack's a very successful organization. We all know that, and we have been part of their journey. We're happy to have provided them services that has helped them convert and engage and create a better customer experience for all their customers. I'm sure a lot of SMEs on this call already use Paystack, and we are also doing a lot of stuff with Paystack at the back end via notifications, OTP, SMS, WhatsApp, you name it. So landing at that, I think I have just 2 minutes left. So I'd like to just touch base on what we're trying to reveal today at the Business Day, this Business Day event. We are providing, in partnership with WhatsApp, Facebook, access to WhatsApp for Business Enterprise. And I'm not talking about the WhatsApp for Business that you have on your Play Store. I'm talking about WhatsApp for Business Enterprise that allows you to do certain level of engagement and integrations. So we're doing a 90 days free WhatsApp bundling. We've bundled WhatsApp Enterprise with our chatbot, which is answers, and our conversations. We're giving it free for 90 days. Whoever is interested to come on board, and you can see my email and Wendy's email. You can engage us after this event, or you can send a mail to us. It comes in different modules, which we can discuss with you later. So I think that is, I hope I was within time. That is all I have to talk about, and you can ask questions, please. Thank you very much.
You were absolutely amazing, Mr. Latayo. One of a kind.
Thank you very much.
You kept the time spot on. Thank you. Thank you so
very
much.
much.
Okay, so if you do have questions for Mr. Olatayo, I'm going to take them during the Q&A. So just write them down and we'll take those questions. If I have all my panelists ready, I would like you to please turn on your video so that we can see your handsome faces. It's time. Cool. Thank you, everyone. So I'm going to have Mr. Wale first. Mr. Wale is going to talk to us, talk about engaging your customers online. Mr. Wale, the tech round-off TV show presenter. I love your show. He's going to talk to us about, what you need to know, and then I'll move on next to Mr. Akinwande, and then next to Mr. Ikundayo in that order. Once we're done with your first introduction, I will go into my questions if you are ready. So others, if you have questions, just type them down and I'll read them through. Mr. Wale, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Linda. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's always good to be on this our monthly webinar series. It's always a time to exchange ideas. It's always a time to talk to customers and prospective customers and talk about topics that are relevant in today's business landscape. And one of such topics is what we're talking about today, is engaging customers online. The world was changing, a decade ago, 2 decades ago. We're already moving towards, the digital space. The Africa success story in terms of mobile phone adoption and what comes with that is still one that is being talked about globally. There isn't any day that I engage anyone from the Western world, from first world countries, where they are not amazed about the adoption of mobile and mobile devices and technology that are driven by mobile in the African continent. So at least that's one success story we can always be proud of and we can always leverage. But there's another one that is coming, and that came about maybe not necessarily by design, but last year, we had coronavirus, and businesses had to take a step back and figure out how they wanted to move forward. I've always said that there is no better case for discussions like this over virtually, like webinar series, conference call, in any other city in the world than Lagos. Because when you think about it, if you're going to go from one part of the city to another, so your office is is on the mainland and you have a customer on the island, that's your day gone, because you're going to spend about 3 hours coming, and you're going to spend 2 hours in the meeting, and you're going to spend another 3 hours going back to the office. Think about it, that's 8 hours gone. And so I always wonder, why is it that we don't jump on calls, 1 hour and we're done, instead of spending 8 hours in traffic and trying to do face-to-face? Guess what? Nobody has taught us. The coronavirus has come, and we've moved a lot of our meetings virtually. So we are now at a point where we can sit in the comfort of our offices and engage in conversations like this. And that is translating to every touch point of a business. Businesses are beginning to realize much more than before that there are customers online, and online is the place where I need to position myself to be able to not just attract, capture, and even retain those customers. So it's beginning to be a credible channel where where businesses really have to come up with a strategy that works, a strategy that aims at, like I said, allowing themselves to be found, expressing their value proposition very clearly, succeeding in acquiring customers, and then retaining those customers. And that's, to a small business can be, a daunting task. How do I figure these things out? But you now have, organizations, companies who are providing this set of tools that makes it really, really easy for businesses to be able to do that. I'll give you an example with our own operations, how we position businesses to be able to play, in all those areas that I talk about. So as a technology company and as a company focused on digital payments, we've also realized in the last 1 year that there's a need for us to go beyond just providing payment services for our customers. We want to enhance the chances of our customers to be able to acquire customers easily. We want to integrate how they interact with customers online, with how they receive payments. We want to help them track their transactions seamlessly, and we want to help them retain information about their customers so that they can always get repeat businesses from those customers. So what did we do? We created a solution or an application called Storm. Storm is the short form of Store Manager. And with that, it's an Android-based application. You download it as a business. And with that, you have access to be able, as a business, you can upload the inventory that you are selling. It helps you to manage the inventory versus sales. And it helps you to integrate to social media channels where you are actually interacting with customers. So I meet a customer on Instagram. I'm having a conversation with them and chatting with them. I was able to successfully make a sale. I'm going to sell this pair of shoes to my customer. What do? I go into Storm, generate a quick order, put the prices in there, create a link, and send to that customer on Instagram. The customer picks the invoice, is able to look at it and say, oh, okay, this shoe, we agreed to 25,000 naira. This is what it is. This is the product. This is the picture. I can click and make payment. That payment is done. Right on Storm, the merchant or the business can pick up that order and then be able to send it out all in one. And after that, he has or she has the information of the customer such that they can always do email marketing, SMS marketing to be able to get another sale or another business from that same customer. And that's just an example of what NetPlus is doing. There are so many other organizations that I'm sure we're going to hear from other panelists talking about different parts of that online journey that businesses have to go through just to be able to, like I said, put themselves out there. Secondly, successfully acquire a customer, be able to do transactions with that customer online, and be able to do repeat business and retain the business of that their customer. So I'm sure we're going to hear more from people, but business and as I close on my first discussion here, businesses more than ever have to think about not just the brick and mortar part of their operations, but have to think about how do I go online? How do I leverage what is out there? Social media has become a really huge place, but all this requires deliberate strategy that comes with solutions, sometimes backed by technology, for businesses to be able to play and succeed online.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wale. Thank you. Did a good job. Mr. Kiwade, are you ready? You're next. So you have 2 minutes to just talk about, introduction and then how customers can really engage online. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to be on this beautiful session. Maybe unlike Wale, this is my first time of gracing this platform, and I'm really excited, and I really want to appreciate the organizers, the Business Day, and the NetPro for thinking through and pushing this forward. And I'm aware this is the 5th edition. So speaking exactly to the central focus of this discussion, it's so interesting what has happened over a period of a year plus, all over the world, and looking at our own climate, specifically in Nigeria, a lot of businesses that will say that there is never a way they could operate, remotely. They will never want to allow their staff to work remotely. They had to make a quick switch to engaging digital platforms, even if they are going to ever continue, operations, given the fact that there was lockdown at some point and the social distancing policy that has to, be adhered to. And that literally changed the face of how, we do business in Nigeria, of course, as much as it happened in the world. Wale had said a lot of things about what has happened in terms of transitioning to digital for business. I'm just going to be building just a little on that using maybe a few case studies. So as I was rightly introduced, as much as I founded some businesses that had to run compulsorily, during the pandemic, we had to transition, operations of those businesses from in-person. So for example, the Global Analyst Academy has always been running in-person programs. So we run this mini MBA program that bring young executives from different organizations together who are looking to accelerate their career. They come together in a room, we bring thought leaders who share insights with them. So because there is this warmth, there is this connection, there is this interaction that happens when people sit in the room. They're so used to it. And it happened that we're running a cohort when the whole lockdown thing came on board. So we had no choice but to transition that cohort to virtual. And guess what? Even though there was no physical interaction, the fact that we were able to switch quickly, look at, the best tools that we could use. So at the point we had the Microsoft Teams, for the academy and all that, switch to Microsoft Teams, begin to use the various components of Microsoft Teams to do the class, the assignment, the engagement. It was really, really amazing. And what has also happened along the line is that some of our international faculty that were not always privileged to facilitate sessions, coming to Nigeria all the time to take sessions, they were able to take their own sessions virtually. So at the end of the day, it became a blessing in disguise, even for the guys that were on the cohort, because they were able to get some other international, contribution from experts for their program. So that's a very interesting case. I'm talking about, our operation at Faith Foundation, where I'm the head of Scale Up Lab. Faith Foundation has been in existence for over 20 years. running various programs that are largely in person, right? We've run programs that we've had to do in various states where we have to send associates to go and man those programs. We have to, rent spaces, like as with local community guys, to drive the awareness, do all of those things. But you see, what the pandemic simply did for us is to say that how best can we drive awareness for these programs? And we just took it digital. That, okay, instead of renting spaces, what are the digital tools that we can now use? And we discovered that there are amazing tools online that you can use to engage your audience when it comes to learning and development. There are amazing tools online that you can use to engage your people when it comes to marketing. And it's so interesting that last year that at Faith Foundation we transitioned to online, we made the highest impact as an organization. Because over the last 20 years, there has never been a year where we could single-handedly say that we reached, over 50,000 people. But you see, last year we were able to break that record. And it's amazing that it all happened during the pandemic year, thanks to the digital tools that we were able to engage. And now taking this to the entrepreneurs that we support, because at Scale Up Lab, I lead every engagement that has to do with supporting businesses that are already doing several millions of naira, in revenue and are looking to, to go to the Nigeria Stock Exchange and maybe raise some other funding from international organization. Now, what happens to a number of those businesses too is that because they've been very, very comfortable operating their brick and mortar, and this happened, the pandemic happened, they had to run back to us say that, hey, what are the supports? What are the interventions that you guys can do? Then we started doing some, quick seminars, intervention seminars for businesses on how they can pivot to digital. And believe you me, what happened to a number of those businesses is that, even though generally people were not able to record the kind of profit that they did the previous year in 2019, in 2020, particularly for those that are not non-essential businesses. But you see, what happened to most of those businesses is that they did not run at a loss. They did not run at a loss. Again, because they were just trying their hands on these tools, they were just trying their hands on digital, they were able to start that journey. And right now, a number of them are doing very well because they've now understood how to engage customers, online, how to, market online, how to, conclude sales online because of this digital tool. So I'm really excited to be talking about some of these, areas, and I'm really looking forward to the question and answer session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kemal. I'm really grateful. Although you exceeded your time, I will find you later. Mr. Kundayo, you have 2 minutes for the introduction, and then we'll go into the questions.
Thank you very much. Hope you guys can hear me. My name is Ayene Kundayo. Interestingly, I didn't know my kids would be home today, so I had to just run into one of the libraries in the house. It's Children's Day, and since my house is
Please, can you speak up a bit?
So, can you hear me?
Volume.
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, just give us a bit more volume so everyone can hear.
Okay, so I say thank you for having me today. Interestingly, I just had to pick a library in my house to do this today. I actually was supposed to go to the office, but my kids are home, so I had to stay at home. So interestingly, it was a transforming time post-COVID and pre-COVID. In 2019, I was in the US, and the Nigerian thing struck me, which is I couldn't use any of my Nigerian cards in the US, and I was a bit stranded. And I was visiting some universities. I visited about 8 universities that same year in the US, and there was a big need. And that was when we realized there were some things that was a gap. So I invested in a company earlier that year, which was Career Express, where we're taking talents from Africa, we're taking their skills from Africa and engaging them across several places in Europe and in the US. And it was just very simple that even being stuck there, I realized I could generate income while sitting down there. So I started reaching out to organizations around, telling them, sending emails and telling them you could do stuff in Africa. There are talents in Africa. There are things they can do in Africa. And before you know what's happening, that thing blew. It blew. We had over 200 people that were working remotely with us in Africa. That's in Nigeria. We had about 16 people, even was on OPay back in those days when OPay was still alive. And we're doing stuffs, and till now we discovered that had really scaled. But when it now came to the pandemic year, which is the last year, we had to now make it, something far more impactful than what it used to be. So we created a lot of quality assurance processes, a lot of policies, a lot of engagement models, a lot of marketing approach. We're not doing our marketing the way it used to be. And what now happened was that all the small businesses that thought it was not relevant to them, they started rushing to us. People were rushing. People needed people who had skills in content writing, because everything you want to see online, it's some sort of content, and you don't want people who put typo everywhere. And then we now talk of creatives, we talk of videography. Those skills became high demand beyond the shores of Nigeria. Every corner you can imagine, people were asking and were chasing talent with those skills. So for every small business, I always say that any business that you cannot trade over the internet, I think you should check again if you're really in business, because scalability means that you're able to even sleep and your business can be anywhere. I was in a session with Shed Goshen recently, and he said something. He said every animal on the surface of the earth has on an average 1.5 billion heartbeats throughout your lifetime. The smaller the animal, the faster you die. A rat, for example, the mouse and the rats around your neighborhood have a lifespan of 2 to 3 years maximum, but an elephant can live 75 years. So how big do you want to become? That's the first question you need to ask yourself as a small business, so that you don't kill yourself, because everybody has an average lifespan. And your business also have the point where it begins to get to an tweet. And how do you engage your customer? Do you engage your customer that you go through the process of dating them, and then you finally get married to them, and then you begin to build a strong relationship that gives birth to every other thing? Or you're engaging your customer in such a way that you want to do a touch and go approach? Those are the kind of things I feel on this kind of conversation also would help. I've seen the WhatsApp thing, and I kind of think I would introduce some of my customers, because those things are quite innovative. They are very interesting to me, because these things are things that are built to scale. Everybody is sending over 1 billion messages every day globally. How much of that share do you own as a business? The question you want to ask yourself online, because most times we feel comfortable. You don't want to play your local show, you're getting some sort of income. By you putting the right business strategy, like if you've read this book by Willow that says the automatic customer, you have a recurring business strategy, as in a recurring guaranteed revenue system in your business as a small business. That's what will make you scale. Those are the kind of things you can look for online. If you look at what Paystack is doing, Paystack already has a recurring payment system. If you see what Wale's team is doing, I've not used their platform yet, but I feel they should have something that can help me deduct money every month from my customer. So people who sell online courses can easily get on those kind of payment platforms, and then you earn income regularly while you're sleeping. You're selling products online, you bring a new update up, and those kind of things. Those are the kind of things as a young business you should be watching out for, because that is where your skill lies. If you can't predict your income, you can never really scale. Even the religious bodies, those people, they use tithes to predict income. So they won't use your offering, they'll use tithe. I've worked with a lot of churches, so I can easily tell you some of the logics behind it. So let me stop there so I don't exceed too much of my time.
Okay, thank you everyone. Amazing introduction. I'm learning, and I'm still learning a lot. With the lifespan of a rat, 2 years, and an elephant, you need to choose which one you want to be. But I want to just give some people some highlights of what I've learned. Mr. Wale talked about the fact that the whole COVID had changed everything. And for me, it's either you innovate or die. It's either you keep running your business from home and making sure it works, having the right payment system and the storage system and systems in place, or you're out of business. And then we got the WhatsApp one on how you can use WhatsApp and syndicate it with your business and have an excellent customer service from Infobip that'll make it work. You know, one thing that I got my take, we actually thought that we will never be able to work from home. So the Nigerian mentality is the fact that once you say you're at home, you are not working, that you are sleeping. But we forgot the fact that we could find systems to check, you know, what time did you log in? What did you do? What did you deliver? Microsoft Team can have the meetings. There's just a lot of things that if we, you know, we take on, we can actually learn from. And this whole COVID has brought those things for us in life. Microsoft Teams, Zoom, this meeting now, we're having people log in from anywhere in the world and they're partaking, having speakers from across the world who couldn't have been able to afford to come. So for me, it's like, what's the good side? It's not all gloomy and bad. It has actually opened a new channel and channels of making money and, you know, streams of income. So I think we should see the good side of it. And then one other thing we should also understand is the fact that you need to think about your business in such a way that it will live beyond you and will have recurring revenue streams of income. So can your business keep making money for you? I want to share an example of a cake lady. So I wanted to click on her Instagram page, right, to order cake. And immediately I clicked on it, it took me straight to a WhatsApp number. That WhatsApp number, immediately I got a message saying, hi, good morning, you're welcome to this company. We're here to serve you. Before I would say Jack, they sent me the price list, the different types of cake, their prices, the flavors. They sent me a number. Do you want us to call you? I was like, so fast. Immediately they asked me, do you have a budget? What's your budget? In less than 10 minutes, we had finished this transaction. Account number was sent. Once your payment is made, someone will send you a text. I made payment, someone sent me a text. We have received your money. I was like, this is brilliant. So you can imagine how, you know, technology, social media, WhatsApp, some people are using it to play and some people are using it to make money. So the question is, how can you use this to make money for your business and grow? Without wasting so much time, I want us to go into questions. I have questions already lined up. My first question will go to Mr. Olatayo if you're ready. So someone is saying, what are the advantages of the WhatsApp bundle and how can it help boost sales in my business? Mr. Olatayo, the question is yours.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
excellent. How can WhatsApp boost sales? I know a lot of people are always eager to, how can I call it now, make sales, But what is important is you need to first define what your digital presence is. So an organization, and that's where I want to start, so that I can put context to the whole topic. An organization is a going concern, like you say in economics or accounting. And a going concern means that it has a life of its own. So first you need to define via the way of branding and your strategy around what your brand's personality is. What's the life of your brand, your organization itself? And that is what you need to replicate online. And you see the tools like WhatsApp and the rest of those other kind of tools are going to only accentuate or improve or provide more, expression to your brand. And that is what actually at the end of the day brings what you call sales. So if you do not sit down, like the other panelists said, and define what exactly you want to achieve from your digital presence, from your digital personality of your brand, then you will find it very difficult to make sales. So what WhatsApp can do in short is, I'm assuming that you've done all this before you implemented WhatsApp, is that it gives you an access to a lot of customers. So for instance, because it is what they call multimedia ready, so you can actually exchange things. Let me give you a use case, for instance. Someone is looking for your store, right? Because the person can engage your WhatsApp address or WhatsApp number and ask a question from the chatbot. You can actually, push through the chatbot your location of your branches all over the country or wherever it is. You can, and that service being served, so that person would have been a customer that would have probably, taken an alternative but will now take the right alternative because they can engage you. So it's an engagement platform. It exchanges media. You can send a video of your new product, for instance, to that kind of customer, or you can send newsletters. You can, go back and forth, and talk about logistics. You can, and it builds that relationship. So it's more of a short and long term type of thing. But we can talk about more of that if you wish. If you send us a mail, we can engage you on a discovery. Know particularly what your organization needs, because it's going to be different from every other organization.
Okay, so if you want to have better engagement, we'll also read the email at the end so that you can send an email to Wendy so that they can find out what your organization really needs and see how to provide that. Thank you so much. So we have quite a lot of questions already. So I would love to please that we answer them in like a minute or two so that we can take maybe 10 questions before we round up. So my next question will be for Mr. Akinwande. What does it take to build a community around customers' need?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. I'm going to start with the fact that building community, digital community specifically, it's something that every business at this time really needs to do. You need to learn to build a community around your brand, and that simply means you need to be able to build like a community of people who are loyalists to your brand, who will be there with your brand through everything and take, who will be the advocates of your brand, who will be the ones selling the idea of your brand, to other people. And building community, right? It's not something that happens overnight. It's something that takes time. But the first thing is you need to be clear. You want to present our brand as, because you see, brand these days, it's like a living organism. Brand is like, he has the personality of his own. Brand strategists will tell you that, your brand needs to have its own nature, its own attitude, its own look and feel, its own color, and all that. So you need to understand from that standpoint that, okay, how do we want to be perceived as a brand? And that will influence the kind of positioning, that you want to have in the market. And you see, once you are clear about how you want to position in the market, maybe you want to be like, the thought leader, or the guys that are always there for the customer, or the guys that are always there to solve problem, on time, or the guys that are just like the thought leader. Anything around this thing that we are offering, we are the first to get it. We are the one that has the knowledge, we have the know-how, and all that. Once you've established that, what you now want to do is to even decide, okay, what platform do we want to engage the most? Right? What platform do we want to focus more on? I mean, as simple as, we've had conversations around WhatsApp on this forum this morning. As simple as WhatsApp could be a place to start, to say that by the time customers come to buy from you and they successfully completed that, transaction with the customer, you seek their consent to add them to your WhatsApp group. And as you begin to build the WhatsApp group, over time, the WhatsApp group becomes that channel for engaging them, either for new products or for upselling them or for educating them or for solving their problem. I understand that, in Nigeria, people don't seek consent before they use people's data. But you see, we are getting to a point where we're going to be scrutinized for those things. So it's important to get the consent of people before you add them to group. You can even use, a platform as simple as Telegram. But the most important thing, you have to be clear in your message. And there is the attitude of daily engagement. Now, I want you to look at what has happened to the like of the Big Brother Naija, show, for example. You see the kind of massive community that follows the show. Aside from the fact that it's very entertaining, right? But it makes a whole lot of money, for MultiChoice and their partners, right? The whole idea is to be able to say that this is what we are doing. What is it that we are offering that resonates more with people? And how can we drive interest in that thing on a particular platform? So you see some brands, their own focus is on Instagram. They are very weak across other platforms. Today, when we analyze Instagram, we still realize that the people that have the highest followership in Nigeria, they are still the individual influencers, the artists, the entertainers, are still the ones that have the highest number. But by the time you also get to brand, you see that there are some specific brands that are like outliers, because they have over 1 million, 2 million followers on Instagram. What they've successfully done, right, is to focus on what they are doing. If it is gossip that you want to be selling to your people around your products, sell it. If it is new ways of using, say for example, if you're an e-commerce, business, you're into e-commerce business, and you want to be promoting your product, the whole idea is to say, what kind of content can I push through this channel that will keep these people engaged? One of the things that I've discovered is that people don't want to be challenged intellectually. If what you keep pushing through your content to your community, thoughts, go and check. You will see that people that have the least followership are those that post all of these intellectual content. It can just be motivational things, right? It can just be new ways of using the product. It cannot just be quick ways. It can even be like frequently asked questions around the product. But the whole idea is to understand your people and begin to connect with them. And this thing actually starts with your team. By the time your team are fully engaged in whatever, so if you post on Instagram, for example, and your people are not liking it, they are not commenting on it, they are not reacting to it, it's going to be difficult for external people to do it. So you can literally start with your people, to start building. So it's a whole world, right? So if I get opportunity to share more on it, I will share, but I have to stay within the time. I think I have it.
You've exceeded the time. Second strike. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to move quickly to Mr. Wale. Mr. Wale, I have 2 questions for you, if you are ready. So how can businesses use technology tools to impact and increase engagement with their customers? And the second question already I have for you is, what role does payment play in the interaction and engagement with customers? So it's not complete until there's money. So I think the 2 questions will go well together. The floor is yours, Mr. Wale.
Yeah, thank you. It's a good question, and it's one that I think most businesses, regardless of the size, have to think about today. And for me, businesses have to engage in this, not just as something practical that they have to do on a daily basis. They still have to do that, but more strategically and more holistically. So a business has to, before jumping into this, to say, who are we as a business? What do we want to be known for? Some people will call it what's our value proposition to our customers? What channels do we want to use to communicate, those value propositions, and how do we set that up tactically on a day-to-day basis? And that leads to your operations, how you set up your team to be able to deliver on those first 3 things that I mentioned. If we look at, there are two channels that we've talked about loosely on this call today. We've talked a lot about social media and social media engagement. That seems to be on the rise. And a lot of businesses would do well to figure out what their social media strategy is going to be like. I like the example that Linda gave about that cake business and the use of technology to drive communication and engagement with the customer. And what that does is the multiplying effect. Think of you're chatting with only one person at a time. If you multiply the access, because that's the access social media can give you, you can literally have tens of customers at the same time. How do you multiply your workforce or your sales force to be able to deal with multiple engagement at the same time? That's the role technology can play. That's where you have bots. That's where you have automated response tools that businesses can engage to be able to attend in an automated way. So it also allows you to be able to predict what your engagement will be to the customer, rather than having to train and stay on top of people to maintain that standard that you want for your business. I like the price lists, the different product type that an automated system can give to you. Granted, there are times when automated systems are annoying and you just want to speak to somebody, and that's part of how you sort of organize your operation to be able to have a seamless handshake between an automated answering system and and people supporting customers and getting them over the line. The other channel that we talked about and you can is WhatsApp, and you can see the clear interaction between social media and messaging tools. And it's especially seamless when you're dealing with Facebook. Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp are owned by the same organization, and they're trying so hard to make the interaction between those platforms really seamless. I'm sure we've all noticed how you see contact on your list, on your phone list, appear on your Facebook as recommendations for friends, for you to connect with them. Businesses can take advantage of that as well. There's something that marketers call custom audience. You can literally build your phone book into your social media lists and tie them together. So your phone book becomes your SMS list, become your email platform, become your social media. So you are literally using technology to follow your customers wherever they are, starting from one contact list that you have that you are building for your customer base. And when you talk about the second question around payment, I like what you said. You can do all these things if you are not collecting the money or making collection easy for your customer, then you are not there yet, right? And in this, at this time, generally, I think we've done well as an economy, transitioning from doing transaction in a cash way to cash light, to people now thinking altogether, how do I do cashless payments? Because of what I do, I follow the growth of digital payment transaction in Nigeria. And it's been very impressive. I have to tell you that, I was looking at the data last weekend. I think in April of 2021, on POS transactions alone, we're now nearing 600 billion as an economy. Transfer has gotten into the tens of trillions as an economy. So for us, as a payment provider, a digital payment provider, what we're always watching out for is how do we help our customers be ready? How do we position those businesses to be able to receive any form of digital payment that a customer standing in front of them or a customer interacting with them online prefer to use? So it's not just about what I have as a business to take payments. It's what I can get myself ready for, the channels that my customer is going to want to choose, to make payments. I'll use one very simple example: account transfer. As easy as it sounds, it can be really complicated for a business. If I call Linda after this call and say, "Madam, for my lunch today, please send me 10,000 naira." She will smile, but what she will simply do is, "Okay, well, what's your account number so I can send that money to you?" Simple transaction. She'll send the money to me, I'll get it, and I'll call her back to say, "I got the money, I'm going to have myself good lunch. I'll send you the picture afterward so that you can see what I had." But it gets more complicated if I walk into a supermarket and I want to buy goods. And they tell me, "Okay, maybe my POS is not working well. You can send money to us." Again, they will give me their account number. I will send money. But this is where it begins to break down. The lady right in front of me cannot tell me whether they received my money or not because she does not have access to that account. She's not the account holder. She's going to try and call the madam who owns the store. She's called, 5 minutes, madam has not gotten back. Going to try to call the account department. I need a confirmation of this payment. That hasn't come. So that explains the friction that you can see in payment system. And that's where organizations like us come into play to try to reduce or eliminate that friction. In the example that I gave, we just launched a solution with some of the leading banks where that lady who is attending to you, who is checking you out, can actually receive that confirmation immediately on their POS device or on an application without the compromise of knowing what the account balance is, because that's always what the account holder wants to protect, right? I don't mind you confirming that you've received money from the customer, But for you to know that we don't have money, or for you to know that we have too much money is what I want, I don't want. So solutions like that are designed to take friction away from the payment process. And that's what we embed ourselves to do. You've heard about QR solution, a very simple way to be able to scan a code and send money. You've heard about USSD payment, a way to be able to put codes to make payment. We're now getting to a point where you can send money to phone numbers, where you can send money to Instagram handles. All those things are evolving. I was having a conversation with a gentleman on my show yesterday where we're now talking about digital currencies. We're talking about crypto. When are we going to get to a point where we can enable businesses to even create coins, crypto coins as a reward and loyalty program for their customers? So you buy from me, you can earn my coin, and you'll be able to use that coin to get services and products from me the next time you come. So it's evolving, and we're very excited to be part of the journey. We're embedding ourselves and our solutions into it. And I can talk to people about some of the things that we're doing that are exciting, after the webinar.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wale. You've done justice to those questions. Thank you so much. Mr. Kodaya, the floor is yours. I have two questions from my guest. What are your top communication strategies to ensure lead generation? And what part, does quality content play in building better communication with your customers? You mentioned that a bit. I'd like you to just answer these two questions for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you once again. Just the quick answers to that. I would tell you that for free, content is king and distribution is now the, how I got it now, the Pope over there. So it's very, 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 very important that the quality of content is what determines how you're perceived, the way people see you, the rapidness, the style you use to present it. One of the biggest content in Nigeria, as at our last check, when we're doing some content check in terms of resonance across all the social channels, is what God cannot do does not exist. I think everybody knows about it now. And it's a very powerful language across all the channels. And these are perceptions. These are things that resonate with us, as it were. Now, if you look at likes of Zikoko, you see the kind of content they dish out, look at their style of communication, you would also start asking yourself that, okay, how do I want to position my brand in such a way that when I'm giving out content, the content actually works very, very well with the kind of audience I'm talking to. So this cut soap for me, you see all kind of slangs that are coming out. And are you aligning as a big brand? Is this brand that does investment, and they said the best way to cut soap for yourself in the future, they started talking about all kinds of investment. So how do you align to the contemporary language of the market where you play? It's very, very important, because most times we come with this academic approach, we come with this super approach that we're the big brands, and we don't understand the grassroots language. I can tell you a choke, all of those kind of words. These are words that you can blend into the contemporary life of your business, except your business does not allow for lifestyle, because if you see businesses who does a lot of lifestyle stuff, they're easy to engage, they are relatable brands. So in your content development and engagement, you need to create a style that allows for that conversation to happen. Now, the other side where I will talk about rapid business growth and all those tools that you need to use. One of the biggest things you can do and use to survive as a business is automation. I see they were talking about abandoned carts in one of the presentations. I will tell you, abandoned carts, actually, for most people who do e-commerce, gives for people who have been able to fix it, like we did something for Conga a couple of years ago, grew their online revenue by almost 54% from the drop point. So you see people who have not introduced things like automations, conversions, because immediately I get your data, what I need to do is to start mining it and start learning your behavior and understand how you work, what you do, how you speak, what time are you online. Those are the things your data were given to me for. I need to understand my user behavior. What's your psychography? How old are you? Who do you talk to? How do you talk to them? We ran a campaign some time ago for a leading insurance company, that's Leadway. And in the communication, we didn't go there and start selling policy and all of that. We were telling stories, and storytelling sells like mad. So in the channels where you're going out, you must understand that your storytelling also must be relatable to the kind of person you're engaging. So automation is one thing I ask that every business run into or do in some sort of design. So in the automated design, maybe in terms of emails, kind of, because I've had 2 email platforms. I sold one off and one I'm still retaining. It's just like a MailChimp platform. And the whole flow, we discovered that for organizations who come up with that whole flow, at least just do for 52 weeks, which is 1 year, immediately I get on your channel, you give me your email or your phone number. There must be a design structure to keep me or retain me or keep engaging me and keeping me as top of mind, because obscurity is what kills many business. So when I don't hear from you again and then you show up one day from middle of somewhere, I say, well, doing an event in June. It just doesn't add up for me. Keep giving me narratives that will make me want to come back to you. And in all the communication channels you will ever use, email is still the one that retains the most. So on an average, if I ask anybody on this call now, you have at least 2,000 emails in your email box. At least 2,000. It shows that people don't delete those messages. But if you go through all the Facebook, the Google and all of that, I see the ads. It's a flash in a pan, except you have enough money to do remarketing and recurring adverts for me. So most times I just say, okay, for small, medium businesses, do this design, begin to sell your coupon, begin to sell your giveaway, do your events in there, sell everything that you're selling there, but make it very relatable and create a flow in your context so that I don't forget in a hurry. And then that also in the gives some level of top of mind reminder, because there will be a day I'll just go on my mail. I was somewhere in Abuja recently, and I was doing a transaction in a bank, and then I had to send the lady, the manager, an email, and then she couldn't find it, so she typed my name. I saw an email I've sent to her in 2015. I've never met her at that time, and then she saw something in my organization. She said, look, we were communicating all this. Well, I didn't know. And that was like almost 6-7 years ago. So you need to be able to be top of mind to that point where even somebody goes to search their mail, they're able to bring out your records and say, oh, this. So those are the kind of things I will encourage businesses to do.
Thank you so much. The thing about emails is that I tell people that sometimes people might not read the mail or respond, but they are seeing it, and the day will come when they need you, and they'll just put something, maybe the company name or the product name on their mail, and they will find you. So email marketing is one fantastic way of top of mind, and people won't forget. Thank you so much, Ekundayo. So I have questions for Mr. Tayo if he's ready. So we have 2 questions in one. My first question is, in building a relationship with customers, where should a business draw the line between personal and business? And then also, I want to merge it quickly with, does InfoBeep have a solution for marketing automation? I know that Ekundayo just mentioned something about automation. So someone is asking if we have a solution for marketing automation.
I hope you can hear me. So I think I'll start first with the question about if InfoBeep has a solution for marketing automation. Yes, we do. A matter of fact, InfoBeep provides an excellent array of solutions that provide marketing automation. What we've done is we've combined into a single marketing engagement platform that gives you insight and into decision making, into looking at variables of your marketing campaign so they can take a decision. So it helps you, also guide you into knowing the success of your marketing campaign and what's next. What do you do next? So there are different examples, So today, if you look at it critically, the number of messages that go into marketing and alerts that come from a lot of financial institutions across Nigeria. About 70% of them come from us, which is very huge. So you get your marketing campaign from your bank, you get your OTP from your bank, you get your alerts from your bank, notifications and all that. All that, 90, 80%, 70% of all those, and typically everybody, almost everybody on this call has gotten a type of engagement from Infobip through our platform, in one way or the other. So what is important is to note what your campaign wants to push forward, and how do you want to balance that out when it fails. So for example, from our single platform, you have your SMS campaign being launched out, and you want to know how many people opened up this SMS. That can be done. From which devices this is, what networks were these messages delivered, were they successful, were they open? If they weren't open, can I do something else? Can I automate, using our moments, which is, we believe that conversion from marketing to sales is that moment where that decision is meant to, be taken. So like the previous facilitator said, at that point, you have a decision when you keep sending a message to this customer and he doesn't open the SMS, and you have his email address in your database. You can orchestrate and say, oh, send an email to this person. Maybe he's not just using that number all the time. Maybe he's better an email person, Then at some point that doesn't happen. Then you can even say you can send another SMS that has a link that once he clicks on the link, it takes him to a WhatsApp chat, engagement, and you guys can chat like you mentioned, Linda. And there's so many things that can happen around that marketing automation, and it also goes into all areas, email, web chat, and all sorts, And the analytics behind it is what is interesting, It allows you to make the right decisions, categorize your customers, and do all sorts of interesting things around your campaign. So I will share a link where you can get more information about what we do in that space in the chat box of this Zoom view. So the other question was, how do you separate personal from business? And like what I said earlier, I said, first you need to define what the personality of a business is. Everybody here has mentioned something around that topic as well. Once you define what the personality is, it changes the concept of personality and business mixing, because already you know that you are differentiated from your organization. So Olatayo is different from Infobip. Infobip has a mind, a nose, a eye, the eyes, and whatever of its own. So there's a way Infobip will talk, and how or Business Day wants to talk, and that manner is what you categorize under your branding, and you replace that with yourself. So you go to the back of the table, you go to the back of the seat or the bench or whatever you want to call it, and let the brand express itself. So that is a very clear definition of how you separate your personal from the business. And what type of mediums do you want your business to speak from? Do you want to release your newsletters via email? Do you want to send happy birthday messages all the time? Do you want to engage the customer on holidays? Or do you want to get a bit more personal with the customer by finding out a bit more about the customer? Maybe in terms of, oh, you've not ordered XYZ that you normally used to order. It's we have just 10 stock left in the inventory. Would you mind if we reserve some for you? So there are so many ways, we get personal, especially when we use analytics and we drive deeper into who the customer is to us, right? And I think basically that sums it up, And but most organizations need to do that hard work first to really define that their digital personality and express that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we have to round off. We just have a few minutes left so we can have the conclusion. I have one more question for you, Mr. Akinwande, if we can take it in 2 minutes. So my question is customer engagement effective for scaling your business? And what will you advise is the best platform to use for this engagement? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I'll just start from the fact that all the various platforms that has been touched on by various panelists are critical. But the most important thing is every business must understand what really works for them. Talking about identifying the appropriate platform. We have over 2.7 billion people that are using Facebook. Their age range is maybe between 25 to about 35, in terms of people that are consistent with it. But Facebook is good for building relationship. It's good for building brand loyalty, right? It's a place where you can leverage that opportunity to connect on a very personal level, with your audience. Then there's the Twitter that has over 353 million users. Typically brand used, Twitter for, resolving customer care issue. So what you want to do is to be able to say that when it comes to solving problem, people pushing their headache, let's undo it through this handle. When it comes to building, fantastic relationship, connecting with people, pushing out content, let's use this handle. And another thing is to be clear, what kind of service do you provide as a business? A lot of conversation that we've had today has bordered around businesses specifically that are probably doing B2C, that is business to customer, businesses. That's where you find your customers across all of these handles easily. Or if what you're doing is B2B, maybe you're providing services to, some of these multinationals, you want to penetrate some larger organizations and all that. LinkedIn is a very, very good platform for you to do this because that's where the key decision makers in these businesses, in these organizations are. And the way to leverage LinkedIn for that is thought leadership, sharing news, sharing articles, sharing happenings, and connecting with people that are key decision within that segment. That's how to connect with them. So while you can leverage maybe Facebook for awareness, you leverage LinkedIn to do that connection, establishing that one-on-one engagement with key decision makers, in these areas. And I'm just going to touch quickly on how to leverage this to scale business. The ultimate aim of every business is to keep growing year on year, in terms of their revenue, in terms of their profits every now and then. So the whole idea is to be able to do your research, that the particular audience that I'm targeting, where do I find them the most and what kind of messaging do I push to them? Once we identify that and we are consistent with it, consistency is the key. Like what Ekundaya was saying, you can't send a message today and the next time we're hearing from you, it's a month's time. There are some organizations that what they do is just monthly happy new month message that they drop. You can't be doing that and expect a good engagement. You need to leverage it. And you see, when you are successful at a small level, right, doing this thing consistently, you are growing your audience steadily, even not currently buying from, you begin to perceive your brand as a very strong or good brand, and they begin to follow you. And what that does is that the perception leads them to reality, right? They have this perception that, oh, these guys are very quick to respond. These guys are very quick. I mean, these guys are the ones sharing this content, sharing that idea. All of those things that they see from you, that give them a perception that you are very capable, that you can be trusted, you can be relied on, and that attracts them to you to come and experience it. So indeed, if we are able to just do our research, understand which channel we do based on the kind of business that we run, and we stay consistent with our message, over time, we're really going to grow our brand and its impact in general. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My audience, please just bear with us. We're rounding off. I have one last question for Mr. Ekundayo. What are the ways to deal with customer queries online, and just to manage it so that you don't lose your customers? Mr. Ekundayo, the question is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. There are many ways you can handle these things. Have enough feedback channels, because yesterday, for the first time, I tried to call MTN and I got a robot call response because I'm a premium user, so usually I don't get all those things. And I noticed that many people are not leveraging technology to engage that. Secondly, be ready with a tactical set for online reputation management. No matter how you try to resolve some people's matter, some people will still go overboard. So be ready with enough responses, have good PR, consistent, in terms of when people start saying, oh, this is what this brand is doing to me, it's almost like a lie. It's not possible. There are banks today that if I try to send money on their platform and it reverses back, or maybe it doesn't go through or something, you don't think twice. But there are other banks, when you use their platform, you are worried. because they've been able to build consistent trust in you over the years. So your content engagement, have enough script or sequence for your robot call, or be for your bots or anything you're doing, have enough of that. And then also create a system that allows for engagement when you need to be there. When I mean engagement when you need to be there, for example, I invested in a logistics company, and they were just telling me 3 days ago that the guy who is the MD of that company had to go and deliver a drug by 12 in the night, because the rider picked the drug and they said they were going to deliver to a man in Apapa, and those family were ready to go AYR online on us, because the rider picked the drug, dropped it in the office, we delivered the next day, and they said if the man did not get the drug that night, the man is going to die. So you can imagine how much of pressure we were. Around 12, the MD of the company went to the office, picked up the drugs, and went to Apapa to deliver something that was a 1K delivery thing. So you must be able to understand that sometimes people will burn you. People are willing to burn your organization down, but create a system that give you like a shock absorber. You know, things will definitely go wrong. Things will happen. There is no perfect structure. Even if you build your house yourself, there will still be defects at some point. Or so you were not there when they were drilling. You don't know the height the engineer went down the road. All those things I think you need to also fix. So, and then have a way to keep doing PR. And when I mean keep doing PR, engage business, they put all your news out there consistently. Because the day the bad news will come, you need something that can suppress it. Because most times organizations don't put enough content out there. So the day you have a bad news coming out from a strong organization coming against you, they kill all the reputation you've built that is just maybe the first page of Google when they search for you. Build enough news and make sure that you have everywhere filled up till maybe page 5 of Google. Like, you know, in reputation management, like I will give you a quick example. Go and Google the name Dangote, for example. The guy had issues first week in January. If you type his name now, as I speak to you, you will not see that thing again. You will just see it maybe on the 10th page of Google. That is what they call suppression. Because except you go and search for that specific news, because the brand is strong. So those are the kind of things you need to start watching out for. So I think I should just stop there.
You have done well. Thank you so much. I want to thank all my speakers. Amazing, answering all my questions. You've done a great job. But before I go, I would want Mr. Wale to just answer my final question and give us a conclusion, because we're running out of time. I have to play one more video and I will conclude. So just give me another 5 minutes and we should be over. I know you have other things to do. Mr. Wale, and my last question for you, and you can conclude in the next 2 minutes. It's how should businesses measure progress, in their efforts to driving customer engagement? I know you mentioned something about payment. For me, if you haven't paid money, business is not complete. It's about the money. So just give us in 1 minute, how they can manage that, and then your conclusion, so that we can round off. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. I would take 1 minute so that we can get everyone out. There's so many metrics that businesses use to measure growth and measure success. The impact of all this is on the bottom line. You want the revenue of the company to grow, and you want that to be associated with profitability. So that those, for me, those are two very clear, metrics that organizations can use. But beyond that, the world has changed, and we're talking about online engagement. There's so many metrics that would ultimately help us transform revenue and profitability. So things like share customer engagement online. We've had people talk about, how many of your customers are liking, sharing information that you are sharing online. That's something that we can measure to see the impact of the content that we're putting out there. In terms of sheer number of sales and customers associated with those sales, are we growing? The number of customers that are buying from us on a month-to-month or periodically. Are we also retaining customers? How many? So, first-time customers are great, but second-time, third-time, repeat customers are even better. Which means you are not just selling to new people. Your services are so good that people are coming back, and that's the hallmark of the business that is going to be here to stay. That's you're building a sustainable brand. People are so that's another metric that customers, businesses may want to measure. You're tracking growth, you're tracking new customer acquisition, and you're also tracking the retention of your customer. Ultimately, if you're going in the right direction for those metrics, your revenue and profitability should also be going in the right direction. To conclude, I just want to say thank you to, first of all the people that have taken time to join our monthly webinar series for the month of May. I also want to thank everyone who has worked in the background. We usually start this work from the next day following the conclusion of a current webinar. And Linda and the team at Business Day, the team on NetPlus, go through a lot to get this thing together. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who has contributed to yet another fantastic edition of the webinar. And I want to encourage everyone who is joining us for the first time or who is joining again to always put this in their calendars every last Thursday. Maybe we're going to be sending a calendar out for everybody, even before we finalize the panelists, so people can have this in their calendar and remember to join us every last Thursday of the month. I just want to say thank you for the panelists and everyone that has joined today. Linda, very good job for moderating this. Hopefully next one will be even better. Over, back to you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. So if we have the video ready, please can we play the video before we end? Brian, the NetPlus video if it's ready. Thank you.
Now let's take a closer look at the device. On the right side of this Android-based device is a physical on and off key and a volume up button. On the left side is the earpiece jack where you can listen to your favorite tracks, a USB-C charging port for charging the device, and a volume down button. On the front of this phone is a phone speaker for calls. Now to the most exciting part. The NetPlus Mini is not only a smartphone, it's a POS device as well. Take a look at the top, which houses a swipe smart card reader, and at the bottom is the magnetic card reader. Behind are two rear cameras, a 0.3mm and 5mm flash HD camera, a removable 300 mAh battery, and a micro USB slot as well as a SIM slot.
Okay, thank you everyone. So I have 1 minute remaining. I would like to thank everyone for making our time. I know we have exceeded by 12 minutes exactly, but we did try. I want to thank you for your time and making it a date with us. I hope it has been worth your while. I hope you've learned one or two things from us. We try to provide information that can help you grow your business. So if you also do want to take advantage of our subscription, feel free to send us a message on social media or reach me. My name is Linda at businessday.ng. We do provide you with information across different sectors and business, providing it daily to your mobile phones, email marketing, and different stuff for SMEs also. You can always reach me or my team members and we can make that available to you. Our goal is to make sure that you succeed as a business, because your success is our success, which means it's also the success of the economy as a whole and the country. So we have to try and do anything to make sure that small businesses don't die and they constantly make progress. I want to thank my speakers. It's been amazing having 4 men on the panel and just me. I had a good time. I learned a lot from InfoBeep with the services you provide for small businesses to Akinwande and customer engagement that you do provide for Faith Foundation. Thank you so much for sharing from your wealth of knowledge. Mr. Wale, it's always an amazing time with you. I've learned one or two things again. And also Mr. Ekundayo, thank you for telling us the importance of keeping your stories out there and managing your customer queries. I really want to thank you all. If we do think that's okay, my team members, thank you also. And the tech guys from back end, Brian and Nduka and Co, thank you so much. You have made this work really easy. On that note, I will call it a day and to have a lovely business afternoon. Thank you.